tonight. Premiere Week continues with Night 2 of The Lounge, starting right now. The following program may contain mature material some viewers may not find suitable. Viewer discretion is advised.
It's The Lounge with Christina Carswell, featuring Reggae Rika and The Lounge Band. On tonight's show, Alex from the channel Swaft, Sarah from the channel Lyra Kylarin, and Sean, the crazy gaming fanatic. And now, your host, Christina Carswell.
Thank you.
Welcome to The Lounge on Toon Dice. I'm your host, Christina Carswell. Joining me today from the ever-popular YouTube channel,
Swaft. I'm Axel.
And from the YouTube channel,
Lyra Kylarin, I'm Sarah.
And the gaming enthusiast.
And Twitch streamer.
And Twitch streamer.
Hey guys, I'm Oddbox.
You changed your name today.
Yes.
Excellent. New personality. So, today I actually got a couple topics that I want to talk to you guys about. It's mainly involving conventions and cosplay. Woo! So, yes, everything I know you all enjoy and participate in. So, my first question...
We're used to.
So, conventions, starting at the hot topic, where everything else kind of just streams in. What was your first convention that you attended? And do you still go to them, or do you, distance yourself from them nowadays? Sean, let's start with you.
Oh, okay. Let's get the ball
Get
rolling.
you out of the way.
Okay,
5 minutes or less.
I know, this is a multi-part question, though. Okay, so first part, first convention?
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, it was Anime North in, 2006.
That was a
I
good
think. Yeah, it was just honestly, that one was a whim, because at the time I wasn't that big into anime, but all my friends who were going were like, yo, come along with us and join, and I was like, okay, I'll check this shit out, this seems pretty cool.
So
and
basically you just went along for the ride.
well, I did, but like one of my friends was just like, it's more than just anime, it's like, it's kind of just like a pop convention technically, because at the time if I recall, there wasn't like the Toronto Pop Expo at the time.
Yeah, that's fair. That wasn't a thing, so they were kind of
Anime North was
amalgamated.
kind of like the hub of everything, because it was the only thing that happened. So I went. I had a blast. I met absolute crazy people. Like everyone thinks like, it's a convention of anime nerds. Like it's just going to be anime this, anime that. No. Because there are raves that happen.
Yeah, the Saturday and Friday raves.
And there was a lot of like hangover-esque hijinks that happened that night. And ever since then, I've been trying to make it a goal to go back and recreate lost youth.
Because you've so lost that in the recent years.
Yeah. So yeah, basically that's all it's really been.
Sarah, same question.
My first convention was actually AC Cubed.
In Ottawa.
Here in Ottawa. I don't remember how long it had been running at that point. I think it was one of the earliest ones, because it was still at that hotel downtown. So I think it might have been the second year it was running.
It ran at that hotel for a few years until it died. The last one, I think, was in that hotel, too.
The last one was over by Saint Laurent. It's off of Vanier Parkway.
Near the...
That was the last one.
Oh, yeah, sorry. That one was... that one was the last one down...
it started in the Chimo Hotel in Saint Laurent. Yeah. It was just in the basement. It was only a 3-room convention.
Then was that small travel lodge on Carling?
Yeah, that was when it was in the West End, and that was a really bad year for them.
Well, it was there for 3 years at that one.
Yeah.
The year that I went, they were at a hotel downtown, actually, and I actually went.
The name?
Oh no, I don't. But it was close to Parliament Hill, or near the
Was it in Rito?
Knowing
that would've
so
been-
No.
managers, it was
I
probably
can't-
some
I-
shitty backwater hotel.
Yeah, it was some shitty downtown hotel, so it wasn't the greatest. But that year I went with I was in grade 9 at the time, so it was 2005.
Yeah,
But-
that'd be around 2005. Yeah.
And I went with my girlfriend at the time, and I had my had a Link cosplay that I made at home using some scrap materials that I had, and I got really chicken about wearing it from the parking lot to the convention center. So I made her and my dad wait outside of the car while I changed back into my civilian clothes in the car, and then
Army clothes?
and then we went to the convention.
Civvies.
Yeah. Former cadet and 6 months reservist, so I refer to civvy clothes as civvies.
That's fair.
But yeah, I changed in the car and chickened out of wearing my cosplay into the convention because I was afraid that random strangers on the street would judge me for it because I was wearing a green tunic, white tights, and carrying a plastic sword around on my back. But yeah, that was my first convention. I haven't gone to a convention in a couple of years, though, due to the scratch not being accessible to do so.
Oh, okay. Funds, yeah.
Yeah.
Conventions can get very expensive, especially if you have to go out of town, because then the hotel costs adds up
And-
onto it. It's almost more than the ticket half the time.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly, and all the merchandise that you want to purchase at the
not
stores
cheap.
or signatures and whatnot. No, it's quite a it's almost like a mini vacation.
Yeah.
If you're staying in town, because it's just so much money you have to save up beforehand in order to do everything that you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
So that's been the thing that's been keeping me away from conventions as of the past few years.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Alex, what was your first?
My first, Anime Boston.
Oh,
For sure.
wow.
Yeah. We want to talk about expensive hotels. Yeah.
Oh, God.
How much did you pay on that trip?
So we split that one, actually. So it wasn't so bad, but I think for the hotel we had, I think it was in the ballpark of like $100, $200 or something. I
Each?
can't remember. Maybe, yeah. I can't remember. I'm sure Pixel's probably going to punch me in the face for using the wrong numbers, but yeah. It's actually, that's what makes it so memorable, though, was that this is the first time I was meeting my crew, where I met Shay, Georgial, and Pixel, actually, for the first time.
Oh, wow. Okay,
so-
so you met them in person.
Yeah, it was pretty cool, actually. The whole adventure there was something else, too. You remember those, like, rickety planes you see in, like, Indiana Jones?
Yeah.
Oh, like the
first
two-liners?
stretch from Ottawa down to I think it was, or no, Toronto to Boston. That's right, because I was landing over by Providence, I think it was.
Okay.
Yeah, it was one of those tiny little planes. You could feel everything the whole way, and it's just like the only thing I could do to keep my mind still was like, there's a little red line flying behind me. Ba-ba-da-ba. Anyway,
Da-da-da.
So- that was really cool. Went to a whole bunch of panels and missed all of them.
How'd you go to all but miss all?
Well, scheduling, apparently. That's something I found is a very big problem with cons, is that they put all the awesome stuff at the exact same time at opposite ends of the building.
Yeah,
They like to torture you. Is
Oh, yeah.
what I've realized over the years.
I remember that at Fan Expo. It was down in Toronto. We running back and forth all the time for everything we wanted to do.
Yeah. At the, I think the most, I mean, there were many memorable moments, but the biggest one for me was the second time I went. We had Georgia with us for the first time. So he wasn't there the first time, but he was there the second time. We were trying to introduce him to anime. And there was a panel for Gurren Lagann. Now,
Okay.
I'm sure he's also going to hit me for actually bringing this one up. But anyways, all kinds of violence. We went in there. Now, it didn't occur to me that they were checking for ID on entering this otherwise innocent panel about what I thought at the time was the greatest anime of all. It wasn't until we all sat down, got settled, and like, so our official Gurren Lagann expert wasn't able to make it. So instead today, we're going to be talking about the tentacle blowjob.
Oh,
And we're just like,
oh boy.
and yes. Although shortly after that, I also sort of like sat there and realized, oh, I recognize that clip. The best part, though, was that there was a gentleman in the back of the room that apparently was an expert on that.
Oh
Yeah.
wow.
yeah.
Yeah.
And spent a little too much time on the internet, I
On
guess.
the subject, yes. Anyway, yeah, so good times.
I think my first convention was AC3, and it was at the Chimo Hotel. It was in 2002. I think that was like the first year that they ran it. This is why I knew so much about it, like how it was just a 3-room convention. Basically, one was a dealer room and 2 were viewing rooms. Anyways,
Yeah.
I remember fondly because I dressed up as Winch Hunter Robin as my cosplay, and this is where I met my buddy Paul for the first time. He's my buddy who runs a retro gaming business, and I remember fondly me and him were just talking because he complimented me on my cosplay, and I complimented him on his, and they were putting up all these like cool stuff on this table, and we walked over and just go, oh, what is this for? Because usually they have auctions and whatever. You can just like write down how much you want to spend and your email, your number, and whatever, and if you're the highest bidder, you get the prize. But the person was like, no, I think it's all free. And like my eyes went wide. There was like Pikachus on the table that if you like touched their feet, it actually talked, and there's a whole bunch of cool stuff that I still have some of it today. And like I literally just like opened up my skirt, like made it into a bag, and then just like wheeled my arm against the table and then ran.
Jesus.
And like my buddy Paul was right behind me, and he did the same thing. He's like, go, go, go. Felt like a bandit. It was amazing. And that was my first take on an anime convention.
Oh God.
Good memories. But like that also brings up the topic of cosplay, because you see people dressing up as their favorite characters and whatever. So what's your take on like cosplays? Like what cosplays have you done, if you have, and what ones do you want to do in the future if you do? Anyone?
Well, my experience with cosplay was generally Halloween costumes, and for years I just did nothing but Link from Legend of Zelda.
I think you have a particular fetish for the boy in green.
I don't know. I don't know. I just like it's more I like the Master Sword, and I couldn't at the time. My brain couldn't get around the whole. Maybe Zelda could use the Master Sword, so I would always be Link.
Because only boys can use swords.
No, I just wanted to keep to the canon, right?
Yeah, that's fair.
But the next cosplay I did was that you remember that pink-haired cat girl thing that I did the last year of AC Cubed?
Yes. Yes, I remember.
I had the big giant fake titties that Kyle liked to grope every 5 minutes.
That was an interesting day.
Yeah. Well, these things, I didn't buy breast forms. What I did is I took a pair of nylons, doubled them up, cut them off, and filled them with Beanie Baby stuffing. So like those little plastic BBs. And according to the tutorial I followed, they should have been more or less kind of squishy.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess I tied them too tight, and they ended up becoming like rock hard. So that's why he kept poking or like touching my fake boobs, because he's like, "You're excited to see me, aren't you?" And I'm just like, what else have I done for cosplay?
Actually, if you don't let me stepping in there real quick there.
Yeah.
You've seen Wild Wild West, right? See that
Oh,
scene
yes.
there where Will
Yeah.
Smith is like showing up the other guy going, no, that's how you make a real titty. Put some water in it. And touch my titty. All right, I'm done.
Yeah, yeah,
let
that's
the
pretty
conductor
much
go.
what was
Come on,
going on. Yeah,
You had to reach far back there for that reference.
I haven't seen that movie in forever. I need to watch it again. But then I did a Rini cosplay.
Yeah,
Oh.
okay.
This brings up a quick point. If you're going to buy your cosplays online, make sure that the reviews are not fake.
Yeah.
Oh my god, the store I bought it from had like 5-star reviews almost across the board. But but when I got the cosplay, Sailor Mini Moon, for those of you listening who are like just strictly no, this is what it's called. I got the costume, and it looked like the Sailor Mini Moon costume outfit ish.
Kinda.
Yeah, like you could get the sense that it was supposed to be Sailor Mini Moon, but the way the fabric was sewn together, those fancy clear shiny bits that they have on their shoulders nearing the end of the series, those are made out of some sort of weird hard type of fabric that kept scratching up my shoulders. It was so uncomfortable.
I've seen that on some costumes.
Yeah, the fabric, the skirt was layered instead of striped at the bottom, and it kept the bottom layer kept getting stuck in my underwear, but the other two layers, the white and the yellow, would stay there. So it was just a huge uncomfortable mess, and wouldn't recommend buying cosplays off of eBay. Go to like an Etsy shop or something that has like reputable like
vendors.
sellers. Yeah.
I've always handmade everything, or at least like got friends who like I'm just lucky that like my best friend is an aspiring makeup artist, so he does really good work, and his mom his ex-girlfriend's mom is a seamstress. So I basically just got all the fabric I needed, took it to her, and she's just like, yeah, okay, cool, I'll do it for you, you know.
Oh wow.
So I've always gone the handmade route rather than kind of
the purchase.
The purchase route, but that's just because I have the availability of friends who, like, I've got connections in that kind of sense. So it's just like, because half the time I'm like, I really want to do this, but I have no idea how to sew. Like, when it comes to making the actual costume, like, I can make props, but the costumes are completely lost on me.
I took fashion back in high school. I still know like the basics of like basically cross stitching, single stitch, and how to use a sewing machine. But anything more than that, and you're just I'm lost.
I've hand sewed like holes in a shirt before, but that's just like, you know, give me needles, some thread, and you're done. But like stitching and cutting clothes to like the exact shapes and stuff like that is just it's a definite talent.
Most of my cosplay experience, almost all of my cosplays except for the pink-haired cat girl and the Rini cosplay, everything else I've made. Like my Lark costume I made, all my Link costumes, the various were made and remade over and over again. And even for the cat girl, I made the ears and the tail. I just bought the kimono thing from Walmart, I think. It was a really cheap cosplay. And of course I bought the wig, but I don't know how to make a wig. That shit takes hours. Months.
The one thing that I got made was the Sailor Moon princess dress, which I still have and I still fit into this day. Basically, I went to a thrift shop, went to the Salvation Army, found this wedding dress, okay? And by God, it fit perfectly, and it was sheer, and it was like lace, and it was like the perfect dress. You just needed alterations. And the same person that I met at the first anime convention, Paul, him and his mom were really good at sewing and stitching and like making outfits because they made all his stuff. So basically I paid him, basically commissioned him to help me make a Sailor Moon princess dress, and I still have it, and it's freaking amazing, and I've never seen any better that wasn't done professionally.
I remember that cosplay actually, because I think you and I went to AC Cube that year together.
Yeah, the last
cosplay,
AC Cubed I wore it.
Yeah. It was I like that cosplay. It's actually really, really pretty.
Thank you. I'm so blush right now.
You're always pretty too, though.
Oh, thank you.
Hey man, commence the petting.
Yay! Alex, have you cosplayed?
I think the closest I've ever gone to is Halloween costumes, honestly.
Yeah, but Halloween costumes, like, you can just throw together whatever you want. Like, be a pimp, you just throw on a really big jacket and a pimp hat, and you're done.
Yeah. I don't know. I've been sort of approached on the subject many times, and I kind of just shy away from it. Similar to what's happened to Sarah, when what you were saying earlier about your Link costume
Yeah.
for the first time. I think closest I've ever come to something that's not entirely Halloween, but close to it. I don't know. We had a costume contest or something going on in high school, and I wanted to be a knight, so I went with my mom, and we did stuff, and got this like really awesome cloak. We found this like really thick material that I think was meant for a couch. It was like the most nondescript brown you could think of, but so she put that together, and we made like this really awesome cloak out of it. And despite how cold it was that winter, what was amazing is I could just wear that thing with practically just a t-shirt underneath. And I was
Basically, you're
warm.
just wearing upholstery.
Yeah. It was amazing, though. It's like everyone else is like freezing there. Well, I guess we've discussed this earlier. Balls don't freeze, but yeah, they were cold. I wasn't. It was great.
Well, I'm glad you kept warm. But like one of the other topics I wanted to bring up about like conventions specifically is I've noticed this trend over the years of going to conventions because like I said, my first convention was like 2002, so I've been going for quite some time, and the pricing like at the vendors have changed not drastically, but they've changed to the point where I notice it pretty substantially. Like, do you have any thoughts or takes? Because like I went to G Anime this year. And I went up to the LARP store and I looked at the sword. I liked it. And I was like, okay, let's see the price. And it was about $40 over what it was online. Pretty much. And I looked this up because, like, I want a good deal. Like, at conventions, you don't pay taxes or anything like that. You just pay a cash fee and you're done. But
Yeah.
this guy was charging basically an arm and a leg for something that I could get cheaper and shipped to my house.
So
Yeah.
the thing I discovered about conventions and dealer rooms is there are two things. The first is that you never go to the dealer's room. You go to the artist's gallery or the artist alley, whatever they call it. Where all the people are doing it for themselves. When it comes to the dealer's room, you wait till the last day when they're overstocked with too much crap and they don't want to take it home. That's when
Yes.
you get everything like.
That's when you
Pretty
can
much.
haggle.
Yeah. That's
But then again, that also plays the risk of
Stock.
not having what you want in particular, because as you said, they've been selling things all weekend, so they may not have what you want, and especially if it's like a really exclusive item that they're only selling at the convention, then it's a catch-22 really on which strategy you go on.
It's a gamble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a gamble. You could either get it for the standard price or whatever they're force feeding you, or you can take the risk and try to get it for a lower price.
Yeah.
I've always been able to haggle. I've actually haggled plenty of dealers because like I took the exact same approach that you did. Like I saw something that, funny enough that it was a store that just decided to sell their stuff at Anime North, but they had an online ordering system, and they were selling it at the convention, and they're like, they were the only ones that had it. It wasn't like I could go to another booth or anything and be like, hey, can you give me a better price than these guys? It was more like, they wanted like $100 for, what was it? It was $100 for a copy of Earthbound.
Oh,
And-
wow.
Yeah. And
Jesus.
which nowadays is still pretty high because a lot of like retro game stores I deal with kind of put just the base cartridge at like around 80. I don't know the eBay prices right now of that, but I went to them and I was like, okay, cool, so you guys have an online store where like I can get it shipped, and these guys were I forget the name of them, because I don't want to like name names and start a witch hunt or anything.
No, you don't want to send out
So,
unnecessary
but
hate.
they had an online store, and this was a couple years back, and they had an online store, and they would just ship it to you. I was like, okay, so you want $100 at the convention, and I pulled out my phone and I went on their website, and I didn't have the $100 on me, and I was like, I was gonna go to the ATM and get $100. And as I'm walking to the ATM, there's other people like in line, so I just pull out my phone and I decided to check what else they had, just maybe to see if they brought it to the store as well, and how much more money I had to take out. And I noticed that they were selling it for $60
On the site.
Jesus.
on the site. So with shipping, because it was a U.S. company, with shipping and border charges and everything, it would have only been $80. So I went back and I was like, hey, this is your website, right? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, you guys have Earthbound, this exact copy I have in my hand, for, you want $100 today. And they're like, yeah, that's $100. And I was like, your website says different. And they're like, yeah, but it's convention prices. You know, because they it's their
the hotline.
The air quotes. Yeah.
no, their justification for it was
Yeah.
they have to pack up all their merchandise, they have to ship it to wherever the convention is, and and then they have to man the booth, and so they have to pay for convention booth pricing. They have to make the money back on that. They have to make make it back for any staff members that they send to the convention, because they're technically working. Some of the hobby craft booths, that's a different story, because that's just like one person selling their art or something like that, where it's just like, here's all this art I drew. Do you want to buy some? ?
And the artist gallery people, they don't even get paid for that. That's out of their own pocket to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, no, they because you pay for floor space.
Yeah.
So, which is fine, because at a limited convention floor space, not everyone can get in for free. So they have to the organizers of any convention, whether or not it's a Comic-Con or an anime convention or whatever, the organizers have to pay all the costs and everything. So I spent like 20 minutes just back and forth, like, why is it on the site? Like, I can just buy it off your own site. Like, I'll give you the money for it. And he's like, you know what? Fine, whatever. I was like, $60, done. And he's like, fine, $60. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, I saved $40.
Yeah.
Like,
No, that was good haggling.
I called him out on it. It wasn't so much haggling. It was more just like I called him out on it, and it was more of, it was more of just like a lot of bigger brand name, or not brand name, but like a lot of bigger stores that deal
Big
with
box
like
stores.
yeah, well, not big box stores, because like
But compared
conventions,
to like the anime
yeah,
community,
but,
it'd
like
be
whatever,
big-
you
big
get like
box.
Anime R Us that runs an online store that then pays for a physical spot at an anime convention. They have to recoup some costs, so they will drive prices up. And that's the thing, is that like a lot of these I get that I get that talking point a lot from a lot of friends who even go to like San Diego Comic-Con. You think like Anime North, where it's like, oh, it's kind of like this kind of biggest convention in Canada, kind of. You go to San
At least
Diego,
in the east.
oh yeah, but you go to San Diego Comic-Con and the prices are through the roof.
Oh yeah, they're
Like
it's
absolutely
stupid.
insane.
Yeah. That's because it's San Diego Comic Con. Everything
What?
there's.
I think
insane.
the only thing that they can't get away with is anything that has the price listed on them, like manga. You can't get away with that with the manga, because they can just turn the book around and be like, "That's the price. I'm not paying more than that. I can just get this at a bookstore."
which is fine, but it's when you start selling collectibles and figures and plushies and whatever. I mean, like, the biggest kind of upset to that is like taking San Diego Comic-Con in to, for example, I'm a huge Magic the Gathering player, and there was a special set of Planeswalkers that were only printed for San Diego Comic-Con, and you could only get them if you went to San Diego Comic-Con, but they were sold in a box set that sold for like $600.
Holy cow!
Oh.
So, but because it was such a limited run, only
They could get away with it.
they could get away with something like that, which is kind of understandable. But at the same time, I'm like, I would not even if I bought one off of eBay that showed up after the convention, that was like a sealed box and everything, I still wouldn't have paid $600 for it because I'm like, it's not really that great of a thing to pay that much for.
Yeah.
We don't even know if they did proper bug testing on that deck.
Pretty much, you have to be like, I need
Full
6
circle.
friends
it
to give
wasn't-
me $100 each.
It wasn't a deck. It wasn't a deck. It was like a from the vault, but it was.
Oh,
it was,
okay.
It was
So
a
it's reprints.
no. Well, it wasn't reprints. It was the cards were entirely black art, and the planeswalkers were in their color, like a neon version of their color. So, like, you can look this up. Like, you can go to Star City and look this up right now. Like, there is the San Diego Comic-Con, like Jace.
I believe you.
I think it was Jace Bellerin. And so it was like Jace. There's Jace Garuk, Liliana Chandra, and
That other dude.
a Johnny. So yeah, the other dude, Catman. So like something like that is it's conventions are so weird to kind of bitch at pricing for that. I mean, if you do like what I did and you can kind of call them out on it, or even show them and be like, hey man, like, you got this going on.
No, I pointed it out to the gentleman that was selling the LARP weapons, and he was only willing to go down $5. I was like, no, I'm done. I'll get it from some other store. I won't get it from yours.
Oh, sorry,
Yeah.
correction. Yeah, they weren't also reprints. They were actual new cards. But you
Okay.
could only get them at San Diego Comic-Con.
Well then.
Alrighty.
I think right now they've reprinted them again. I could be wrong about that, but at the time you could only get them at SDCC. So
That's fair. Well, cons can do that. They can have exclusive. I can't speak.
exclusivity. right?
That's the word.
Aluminum.
Aluminum. Aluminum.
Yummy, yummy, yum.
Aluminum.
Yummy, yum.
So I think that's all the time that we have for today. That was kind of good. I liked it. Did you like
I
it?
did too, yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Yeah.
Good.
I'm glad that you enjoyed it because I enjoyed it.
Going awkward places.
Well, that's all the time we have for today. Be sure to follow us on all social media at Toon Dice on Facebook and with the hashtag Toon Lounge on Twitter. And if you're a fan of Toon Dice, make sure to support us on Patreon at patreon.com/toondice. And on behalf of Axel, Sean, Sarah, and myself, Christina Carswell, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on the lounge.